Hey, girlfriend, you know who you are. You have big, big dreams. You want to write a book, stand on a TED Talk stage, be a life coach offering wisdom from your RV in Montana, a cafe in Barcelona, or a beach chair in Tulum. Your other girlfriends and your family, they don't always get your biz savvy. Why do you want to leave your JOB? Because you're a C.A.T.S, aka coach, author, thought leader, and speaker. Meet other change makers like yourself and find out how they make it happen. This is the Big Meow podcast.
Hello, all you cats. I'm Kristen White, and I'm here with Alyssa Gioscia. Alyssa, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Kristen. Hi. I love your ears.
Oh yeah, we're going all in.
Yes, I love it.
So tell me a little bit more about your business, what you're working on. I saw that word destructive habits and I totally caught my attention. So I want to hear more about that.
Absolutely. Yes. So I'm an executive coach, performance coach, depending on, who I'm working with. But I find that whatever level we're at in our professional journey, we have habits that can get in our way. And so I partner with my clients to help them think bigger and really answer what's true for them, because oftentimes in life, we have a lot of stories and we've been told a lot of things that may or may not really be true for us. So I walk with my clients so they can find their authentic self and dream bigger.
I love that. Have you heard that Ed Sheeran song about bad habits?
It's hard to break.
Exactly. It's so funny. I do think about habits and how they're linked to the certain stories that we tell. If somebody felt that they had a self-sabotaging habit, what would you recommend to them to finally break that?
That's a great question. A lot of times it's about finding out what's actually true. So someone might be saying, I want to write a book, but I have nothing to say. And so they're going to continue feeding that story. Well, I have nothing to say. Nobody wants to hear me. So by asking them, is that true? Like, what's the reality there? And most people in those instances are saying no. Okay, so then what is true? That you have insightful wisdom to share, that you have exciting things that you simply want to share. So it's really about getting to the heart of the matter and figuring out what's the story that's spurring on that behavior, which oftentimes is something like procrastination. And again, all of those things are undergirded by fear. So it's also getting at the heart of, what are you scared of? Because that's a big one for all of us. And at every level, there's something new.
Yeah, hello. It's like, what am I afraid of today?
That's
I mean,
right.
I think especially, as a cat, putting yourself out there, owning your own business, putting your work out there in the world, stepping on a stage for the first time, any of those things is enough to, hold back the faint of heart. So what is your philosophy in your business?
Well, for me, my philosophy in my business is to really serve people with love and empathy. Oftentimes, you have people, and especially when you're talking about the cats, if you're a creative or want to do something that's different from the norm, that's not a corporate job, the people around you who are very comfortable in the corporate space and in the world of what they're used to, they're giving you advice and they're trying to help you, but they don't necessarily get it. And so you feel like, well, am I crazy? Am I doing something that's going to kind of ruin my life? Like, what am I doing here? So back to your original question, I really want to create a space where people feel safe to share their dreams, however outlandish they may think they are because of that outside voice, and walk next to them to say, like, okay, the fear is real, but it doesn't have to stop you. The mindset, we can fix that, right? So like, there are all these different things that we can do. And so I really just find so much joy in partnering with people to get to the place where their dream is. So my philosophy is, I'm going to partner with you with love and empathy and give you a space where you can be authentically you.
One of the things that I have been doing for quite some time now is always having, I call it that wild card project. It's that thing that's way out there. It's so crazy. Like, maybe it'll happen, but who knows? It's in that lottery realm. And so 2 years ago, I went back to UCLA and took a TV writing class. So here I am, like the only mid-50s person among all these 20 somethings writing TV scripts and, creating these ideas. And it's been really fun. It's also been frustrating. it
Yeah.
is kind of fearful as well, because you're like, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm what I'm doing here. But
Yeah.
it's that creative outlet.
Mhm.
And I've noticed that what it does is it stretches me in other areas as well.
That's right.
Because I stretched in that area, when I had the persistent idea to create this C.A.T.S network, I was
Mhm.
like, oh, what the hell? Let's just try it. What's the worst that can happen,
Yeah.
And I think that is such an important mindset, is to not be afraid to stretch yourself, because you may
100%.
only be a couple of degrees away from like the most epic breakthrough. But if you never
Right.
even took one step in that direction, you wouldn't know.
Right. And what you just said is something I ask my clients regularly. What's the worst that could happen? Like sometimes it's literally, well, they could not respond to my email. Yeah. Well, they're not
Oh,
responding now because
ooh.
you haven't sent it. Like if that's the worst, why not try? Well, what if they're annoyed? What if they're annoyed? What if they say yes? And I think that's something else we don't often do is we don't often say, what if this good thing happened? What if that
Right.
other good thing happened? And for you and your example, you have wisdom and experience that none of those 20 somethings have, and a totally different take on life. So, like, is it hard? Yes. Is it challenging? Probably. But is it fun? Yeah. So, what's the best that could happen? I come out with an awesome script. That's not
You
so
know,
bad.
the hardest part for me, honestly, was not really coming up with the creative ideas, but learning how to use the software.
Ah, gotcha.
Because you're in that like final draft, which is the script writing software. And
Mhm.
it's like, oh my God, another kind of software that I have to learn how to use. And it's all formatted wrong. And it's like, I'm more afraid of putting my scrambled egg use of this software out there than I am of like rejection of my ideas. So I
Yeah.
do think having that beginner mindset and not being
Mhm.
afraid to be a beginner again, and watch a couple videos, or just expose yourself to, you may have a learning curve if you do something
Mhm.
new, but that doesn't mean you can't learn it.
No. And failure is not an F word. I think a lot of times we put it in that bucket.
You may say
It's
F words to yourself.
Yeah, you might because it's
Right.
hard, but it's okay because what did I learn and what do I want to do differently? And I'm going to do it again and try it again. And I think sometimes we forget when we see people who are at a certain success level, they have put in a ton of work and time and failures. And they didn't just arrive in their 35th or 40th year, whatever, just like, ta-da, they have been putting in all this time. So we don't need to be afraid of that. And it's okay if some of the time that we put in is super productive and solid. And other times it's like, those cookies need to go back in the oven.
Right. Yeah. I always tell my clients that inside my marketing agency, it's like
Mhm.
part of what I know is from my high failure rate,
Yeah.
right? Like all those projects that I did when I was launching my first book, or,
Mhm.
created this TV series. It's like, gosh, I really effed that up. Right. Like, so, I'm
Yeah.
never going to do that again. So,
Mhm.
I have a pretty big list now at this phase. I've been doing this, type of business specifically for about 20
Mhm.
years. I have like this whole big stack of like how
Yeah.
not to do things, which is a big part of the process. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, this worked pretty good. This worked kind of okay. And this all needs to
Mhm.
be redone. And I think that is that kind of understanding is a really big part of being a successful cat.
I think so too. And like as a coach, when I first started, I used to think I have to coach everybody perfectly all the time.
Oh,
And I realized, okay, we're both humans here. So sometimes I will stop and say, let me ask that a different way. Let me say that better, and
right.
no one minds because we're all just doing life together and that's okay. And now maybe I'll ask it better the next time or differently the next time, but it wasn't a bad thing the first time, right? It's just like that wasn't quite how I wanted it to sound, but all of it's okay.
I love that self-awareness for other coaches who are listening. It's like you come out of that coach accreditation, and you get your ICF credentials and you're like, okay, I'm ready to get out there and coach and help
Yes.
people, understand their limitations and have that breakthrough. But damn, I can't find the right question. And so, so then you say something, you're like, why am I saying that? So just even giving yourself permission to
Mhm.
rewind it a second and say, I'm going to ask you that as a different
Yeah,
way, even
exactly.
if you're not coming clean on yourself, but,
Mhm.
we are all human, and we're going to come to things from different collective experiences and frames of reference, and
Mhm.
we're going to see things differently. And that doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just part of who we are.
Right. And, for your speakers, the same kind of thing. I know when I step on the stage, I always want to give myself the mindset of the audience is excited to be here. They want to learn and they're for me, right? Like they want me to do well. And if I say something and I go, or whatever kind of silly thing, maybe they'll laugh along with me, right? Like it is not the end of the world. And so inviting people into that to break some of that awkwardness as well. So I always try to remember their intentions with me are good. My intentions with them are good. And we're in it together. And it really takes a lot of the pressure off.
I love that because we have a lot of speakers who are just getting started and they're just frozen with that perfection. I need the perfect message. I've over memorized my notes. All these things that make you so tight, and then you don't have the right kind of confidence and you don't have the right energy and, the sparkle is not there. And, one of the things that I did learn just from my years, I used to work in TV news, is even if you mess up, don't say anything. You just
Yes.
sit there on the camera. You just sit there quietly until you can like get your thoughts again, no matter if it's a live shot or you're at the anchor desk. You just kind of sit there for a minute and it does come back, but it's this moment where you kind of can choke and you're like, okay, but I'm not going to say a word.
No, and they don't
sit
know.
in that frozen moment.
Yes. And I love it too, because in my mind, for me at least, I know I memorized A, B, C, D, and I would like to say A, B, C, D, but the audience doesn't know that. Yeah. So if I say A, C, let me not forget to say B. Like I can go back. They don't know, but that can get your internal mind go, oh my gosh, it's out of order. And that is really where you start to get thrown off, rather than saying, I know what I'm talking about. And it can be as fluid as it is. That's where your preparation comes in, but it doesn't have to be that same level of 1, 2, 3, 4. It has to go just like that. That's where, for me, the tension comes from, right?
Right. Absolutely. So what's some piece of advice that you can just share with other cats who are just moving along in their business, something that you've learned from your own business?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. For me, not going at it alone in so many ways. Like if that's hiring your coach, your mentor, your therapist, your marketing team,
all of them,
right? Somebody who's helping you write a book, get your experts, whoever they are. And also for me, surrounding myself with other leaders and experts in the different niches, because like coaching, as you know, it is a wide ocean of styles. And there's always someone who said, I'm more of a career coach. I'm more of a performance coach. I do resumes. I do leaderships. I do women only. Like there's so many different things. And so for me, having this really cool tribe of people who are all working on different things allows me to say, I need a second set of eyes on this, or I have had 20 no's in a row and darn, I'm feeling a little discouraged. And it's like, you can get to the next one, which will be a yes. Right. So for me, having that tribe of people who are around you to support you, to learn with you, to grow with you, to lead you on when you need a little, to encourage them when they need a little, it's really made a difference, especially when you're a solopreneur, or like we talked about at the beginning, when you're doing something that maybe others around you don't really understand, you kind of find your team, right? Your family in that.
We totally all need each other.
Yes,
so what's next for you?
I am figuring that out right now. So some things in my life changed at the beginning of the year. And so if you would have asked me in January what I'd be doing now, the answer is very different than now. But right now I'm focused on my coaching practice and serving as many people as I can. And I'm on also a little bit of a health journey. So I've been doing a lot to make sure that both internally and externally, I'm taking care of myself well. So I have the energy, to serve people and I can show up fully.
Absolutely. Alyssa, thank you so much for being on the Big Meow. This was really fun.
Thank you, Kristen. I enjoyed it very much.
Thanks for listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by C.A.T.S Network. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can also join our network filled with positivity and possibility. Visit www.catsnetworking.com to join us and learn more, together with your magical, motivated, and mystical new friends at C.A.T.S Network. Let's transform 1 million lives with your message. Are you feeling isolated sitting at home in your PJs? Or perhaps you're tired of the comfy sweatpants with holes in them that are hidden just below the camera? I mean, you could puke at the thought of another day of Zoom meetings and reporting to your BOSS. Do you want freedom from your home office desk or the office cubicle? Do you want freedom from your current career? Or are you frustrated that your online biz dreams are going nowhere? It's all too overwhelming. Where do you start? All the tech, the choices, and your message. Yep, I said your message, your brand, your voice. What is it? Do you even know what that means? Do you need a biz coach but don't want to invest the big bucks? Let's face it, being a solopreneur is lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. And here's a solution. Join C.A.T.S Network. C.A.T.S Network is a woman-only membership community exclusively available to you, the life coach or executive coach, the author, the thought leader, or the public speaker. If you identify with this list or want to work on adding some of these to your skill set, C.A.T.S is the place for you. Check us out at www.catsnetworking.com. That's C-A-T-S networking.com. Because let's face it, cats are better together.